There's nothing wrong with being an appraiser technician, but there is very much a lot wrong with trying to be a technician and a business owner at the same time. It sends the wrong message to the individuals that you're in their home.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
One of the things I encourage my clients to do, those who are trying to grow their business into more than just an appraisal office, but an actual appraisal business, is to stop answering their own phone calls. And that takes some setup, that takes some organization. And I want to share with you a way to do it, and do it pretty simply if you hold on tight. I want to pause here and remind you that we're sponsored by a great company called ANOW Software. Folks, I've talked a lot about ANOW Software, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it today, about halfway through the episode. But in the meantime, you need to check out ANOW by going to anow.com. By the way, you can get 30% off for the first 3 months by using the coupon code podcast30. That's PODCAST 30. All right, folks, I want to talk to you a little bit about office setup today, and specifically moving out of the realm of being a single person entity when it comes to your appraisal business. And I've said this before, and I'm just going to be blunt with you if you don't mind. Well, even if you do mind, I'm going to be blunt anyway. The idea of running a business is much different than being a technician. And I think that sometimes people don't really understand that, to be honest with you. When I talk to appraisers, they want to use the terminology that, yeah, they are a business owner. But the honest truth is, when you really dig into what they're doing, they own their job, if you will. And what I mean by that is, if they don't show up to work, work stops. And that's a problem if you want to be a business owner. Now, granted, you own your business. Yeah, it's under your realm. You own the Inc. or you own the LLC. Great, I get that. I understand that. Sure, fine. I'll give you that. But the honest truth is you own a job if you have to show up in order to make money. When you start to become a business owner is when you start to understand that you can be gone for 2 weeks in Hawaii, enjoying the surf and the waves, and you're still making money. That's when you move from owning your job to owning your business. And part of that has to be giving up some control. Let's just be honest. Some people are not comfortable with that, and therefore my coaching doesn't do much good. Now, I can certainly tell you how to do things more efficiently and more effectively within the realm of your personal appraisal office, if you will. But if you really want to truly move into the prosperity world of making money while you're not there, right? And that doesn't mean that you're not making money without any effort, okay? There's a difference. It's not lazy money. It's the fact that you have set up your business in such a way that it can move and shake without you. And part of that just honestly has to be the phones. It's one of the first things that I encourage my clients to give up. Give up your phones. You should not be out there measuring a home with a borrower in tow and your phone rings and all of a sudden you feel like you have to hold up one finger to your index finger to the borrower and say, can you hold on just a second? I really need to take this call, because you know it's money on the other end of the phone call. Don't do that. It's super unprofessional. It sends the wrong message, right? And frankly, it doesn't allow you to focus on what you are doing at hand. There's nothing wrong with being an appraiser technician, but there is very much a lot wrong with trying to be a technician and a business owner at the same time. It sends the wrong message to the individuals that you're in their home. And I think that this is super, super, super important to remember, because we're professionals, right? I hear appraisers complain a lot, saying, why don't they just treat us like the professionals that we are? Well, honestly, sometimes because we don't treat ourselves like the professionals that we are. And part of that is separating the customer service from the professional. You've heard me talk about the doctor's office analogy quite often. I use it a lot with my clients. The doctor should not be up front answering the phones that are incoming from patients. That would be silly. You would laugh at that. You would think this is the most unprofessional doctor's office I've ever been to. And you would be right. The doctor understands that the doctor is the professional in the back, the last 10 minutes of the visit, diagnosing, talking with you, and talking about your future and your prescriptions and anything else that you need to talk about. But the people that take the blood pressure and check you in and bill you afterwards are not the same people that do the diagnosis, which should be the doctor. At the very least, the physician's assistant. And there's roles similarly found within the appraisal office. And part of this that I see quite often is appraisers are running a one-man show. I kid you not, I was at the fair. I'm recording this on a Wednesday, and I was at the fair on Saturday, okay? And I was actually volunteering at a booth at the fair to help earn money for our homeschool group. And 3 times while I was there, I was there for 4 hours. And 3 times a one-man band came past, playing the drums and the harmonica and the saxophone and whatever else he was playing, and came past. And I thought to myself, I should have taken a picture, because it reminded me of appraisers. It reminded me of appraisers who are trying to juggle all of this stuff. I mean, you can imagine this, right? Trying to juggle everything that's going on, and feeling like they're doing everything just perfect. Let's be honest. I mean, it was pretty impressive to watch this guy do this one-man band. But let's face it, he didn't play the harmonica, the saxophone, and the drums very well, because he was doing them all at the same time. And I think the same is true with our own office. And so one of the things that I highly, highly, highly recommend doing when it comes to appraisers is getting rid of your phones. That's one of the first things that you can do that will absolutely, and I don't want to overemphasize this, but I don't think I am when I say absolutely will change your life. Can you imagine going through a day and not having to take a phone call from potential clients, AMCs, homeowners? I mean, it will blow someone's mind if that's all they are used to. And I'm telling you, it absolutely can be your reality if you allow it to be your reality. But I want to share with you how to do that, and I want to do that when we get back from the break. First, I want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by a great company called A La Mode. Now, I've talked about how A La Mode really is used to manage my entire appraisal office, and I am not exaggerating that. They do. They keep track of every order. They keep track of what type of order, who's assigned to what, who's doing the inspection, who's doing the write-up, who's doing the research, who's doing the comp selection. It keeps track of due dates. It tells us, it reminds us the day before, hey, you got 3 reports due tomorrow. Dummy, get them done. It actually doesn't call you dummy, but I always insert that when I look at that. Now software is where it's at, folks. If you want to be that one-man band, many people ask, well, now I'm sure it's great for big offices, but really for a single, yeah, folks, even more so for a single person entity. Trust me on this. Anow.com is where you go and put in the coupon code podcast30 and you get 30% off. Pretty awesome, eh? 30% off, anow.com, and it's podcast 30. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. We are talking today, yes, we are talking today about, phones. We're talking about trying not to be the technician and the business owner all at the same time, the one-man band, if you will. One of the ways that you can move very quickly into becoming a business owner and not just owning your job is to get rid of your damn phone. Folks, there's nothing more unprofessional, in my opinion, than walking through someone's house. The phone rings and you feel like you need to take it because it's an important phone call from a potential client, and you hear the cash register ringing in the background whenever your phone rings. Can you imagine being that homeowner? You've got a stranger in your home, right? And they're walking through your place. You're not comfortable to begin with, but then they're taking phone calls. It's just a little weird. Now, granted, maybe you say, well, Dustin, I don't do that. I turn off my phone when I'm in the, yeah, okay, great. But how many calls do you have to return when you're done? This idea of being more efficient and more effective in running a business, if you will, and not just owning a job is huge. And one of the great things that you can do is get rid of your phones. Well, how do you do that? Well, Dustin, this has always been my phone. All right, the phone rings. It's my cell phone. It's been my cell phone for the last 12 years. All of my friends and family have this cell phone number, and now all of my clients have this cell phone number. Well, the first question I would ask you is, how many is that? Roughly. Now, I don't need an exact count, but how many friends and family do you have versus how many clients do you have? And who are more important? And I mean that in such a way that it's easy to change your phone number with your mom. It may be much harder to change your phone number with your local client, your local bank. I mean that. And most of the time, what I would suggest to people is that they change their phone number, but they keep their business line, their cell phone, meaning not that you keep the phones ringing to your cell phone, but that you keep the same phone number that your clients have for potential orders, because cha-ching, again, that's money coming in the door. If your mom gets the wrong phone number, well, you miss a phone call from your mom, okay? And you can figure that out and call her back. You miss a phone call from an AMC, and you may miss a $500 order that you would otherwise have. And so most of the time, not all of the time, depending on the difficulty, most of the time, what I would encourage is that you, first of all, that you get a VoIP system, a voice over IP system. And once you get that, that you start to switch over your phone number to the proper routing system. So again, the idea is you've got to figure out what's going to be the easiest transfer. Is it easier to call all of your contacts or text all of your contacts on a personal basis and say, hey, here's my new phone number? Or is it easier, maybe you're one that only has 3 or 4 clients, and say, hey, I've moved to a business line. Here's the best way to get a hold of me from now on. Now, some of you are asking, well, Dustin, that sounds silly. Why in the world would I do that if I'm still answering the phone? Well, because you shouldn't be, first of all. Number one, please consider hiring somebody to answer the phone for you, hiring a CSR. That will change your life, I guarantee. I know I use that term a lot, but it will. And number 2, even if you don't have that customer service representative, it's still, believe me, folks, more professional for it to go to a business line than it is to your cell phone. Trust me on this. Even if they can't get a hold of you right away, I guarantee your clients are going to respect that more. So find a voice over IP system. I use RingCentral in my office, and get that thing moved over. You should never have the same phone number as you have both personally and with your business. For this and other tips, I hope you will join us on the All-Star team. You can check us out by going to the memberships page on my website, which is theappraisercoach.com.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.
Text all of your contacts on a personal basis and say, hey, here's my new phone number.